Welcome back to our podcast conversation entitled Seasons, where this week we're talking about the season of feeling stretched. And for many of us, we may find ourselves in that season, or perhaps as you're just learning about life, you can look back on a season in your life where you did feel stretched. Yesterday, we continue to learn more about the seasons, and not only acknowledging that seasons have a beginning and an end, but they all have a very particular feel. And today and tomorrow, we're going to talk about what the season of being stretched can teach us or accomplish in us. And there's three things that I want to draw you into today, particularly in the season of being stretched. When we're being stretched, when we're in that season, what is God or life trying to accomplish in us, or what is God or life trying to teach us? Well, the first thing you can ask yourself is, what's being stretched? Maybe it's your patience. Maybe it's your capacity to love. Maybe it's your dependency upon God, or your trust in other people, or the need to forgive. Whatever it is, oftentimes what's being stretched is a lot more than what's being stretched, if that makes sense. So instead of running from the season, you don't run away from it, you actually run into it. And that can be very difficult to do. But if I can remember that when I'm being stretched, it's trying to accomplish something and I want to learn something from it, then I can run to what it's trying to accomplish, or I can run to what it's trying to teach me, right? And a lot of times that has to do with just love, my capacity to love other people, my capacity to love God, to depend on God, to forgive, things like that. Number two, as you run into the season of being stretched, because you want to know what it's trying to teach you, pay attention to your emotions or the doubts that rise from being stretched. A lot of times, the most common reaction when we are being stretched is either negative emotions. We don't like being here. We resent it, things like that. We doubt whether we can do it. We doubt whether we can sustain it. Or they're just questions about life that arise. And if you pay attention to those things when you're being stretched, then that will point you to what it's trying to teach you or accomplish within you. And then finally, you want to ask yourself, do you feel like you are managing life in this season for God or with God? In other words, it's really important to pay attention to your heart. And do you see God with you in the midst of it all? Now, we're going to talk about that on Friday, about how can you find God with you in the midst of a season of being stretched. But if we can just simply pay attention to the things that rise in our hearts, feelings of being alone, or a new awareness of God's presence with you, can often be there. So when you're being stretched, you want to know what it's trying to teach you or accomplish, and paying attention to those things today can help you with that. So for your homework today, first of all, just consider the difference between trying to run away from it or run into it. But ask yourself today, what is it trying to teach you? Or what is it trying to accomplish? What growth do you see? Or are there any blessings whatsoever that you can hold on in the midst of it? This is part one of a two-part conversation, and we're going to talk more tomorrow about what it's trying to teach you or accomplish in you. But just a word of encouragement, if you find yourself there, just take a deep breath and relax. Know that God is with you in the midst of it, and you're not alone. Not only is He with you, but we're here with you here in this pod conversation, and we'll get through things. Come on back tomorrow. Know that God is with you in the meantime, and until we continue our conversation tomorrow. God bless you.